Today we're catching some sun and waves with Debbie, a QHS member whose life is as vibrant and refreshing as a seaside breeze. What currents brought her to the sunny shores of the quantum shift? Let's surf behind the scenes to see the waves she's been riding.
My name is Debbie Lang, and I have been struggling with health issues since the year that I got married, and that was in 1977. I have had many challenges with autoimmunity, a lot of surprises with my kidneys, and dental problems that have cost us thousands of dollars, lots of infections, and just a whole array, a cancer scare. It just seemed like one thing after another, like I thought I was where as far as it could go, and then it got worse. And so the reason I want to overcome these challenges is that as an adult, I've really never been 100% healthy. I don't know what it's like to live like that. I did as a young person, a child, until I was 20, but that's really important to me. What I'd like to do is be healthy enough to build a healing center, work with QHS, work with people who are going to go into the QArc, and also be of service to humanity, to rebuild our world that's been destroyed. Work with people who are going to, fix our soil, fix our water, fix our air, fix our food, because that is absolutely critical. And I want to be a big part in that. For my kids, for my grandkids, for my great-grandchildren that are coming, and for the world. So that is why I'm at QHS. This is a miraculous project that will change the entire world. Hi, my name is Debbie, and today I am giving my backstory, what my life has been like up until now. When I think about my mother's heritage, the first thing that comes to mind is that she was Irish, from Irish heritage. Her grandparents immigrated to the United States around 1860, according to the travel documents that we have from the ship they came on. Her grandmother, her aunts came. So she grew up with a ton of cousins, and all of the Irish superstitions that came along with that. She brought them into our family. I mean, we had to be very careful about walking under a ladder, opening an umbrella in the house, walking in front of a black cat, or spilling salt. It was an interesting upbringing. We were obviously very Catholic. That was very important to her. So we attended parochial school and all the way through high school. She was a very serious person, very practical. She'd had some trauma in her life that brought her to where she was, and she was very smart. She wanted to go to college, but in 1942, when she graduated, women didn't go to college. They only paid for the boys to go. So it was important for her that my sister and I, for sure, would get our degrees, and we both did, even though we went as returning adults. So we did accomplish that goal. She didn't survive to see it, but we knew that that was important to her. My dad was, we believe, of Scottish and German descent. His grandmother immigrated here from Scotland, according to my grandmother. And his dad, his family entered the States into Louisiana, and then, or somehow got to Louisiana, and then they moved to Illinois. My mom lived in Dalton City, Illinois, which was known as Little Ireland. And my dad was raised on a farm, and they went to the same high school. So they met when they were 15 and 16 and got married when they were 18. So they loved each other madly, and they did for all over 45 years of marriage. They had one child while they lived in Illinois. And at that time, as my dad was working on the farm, my grandfather died of pancreatic cancer. My dad was expected to run the farm, but my grandmother was a very opinionated person, to put it nicely, and she had lots of opinions about how families should function, and she believed in only one child. So my mom wanted to have another baby, and there was a lot of disagreement. So my dad decided that they were going to move out of state, and they moved to Wisconsin in 1948. He had a few jobs and then decided to start a business, and my mom watched us while he did that. They bought a property with a house adjacent to it. So we walked from one door into the other, and, they worked really hard over the years to develop a very successful business. We had a great upbringing. I mean, other than, a few difficulties with my sister as she got older, because she was 10 years older than us. My brother was 13 months younger than me. My mom called us her Irish twins. So she was a different generation. So we really had a good time. My dad wanted us to have fun. He put in an in-ground pool for us. We had go-karts. We had motorcycles, just fun stuff. One time he took us when my mom was taking a nap and over to a construction site and let us jump around and play in the dirt, and then brought us home and said, now hop in the tub and don't tell your mom. So, just fun little things like that. When I was 14, they bought a property in the country that had a barn on it, which had what they say called good bones, and they wanted to renovate it. Well, by this time, my grandmother, my dad's mom, had remarried, and they were on board to helping. So they would come up for the summers, and we would get together on every Sunday for Sunday dinner. My grandmother grew up on the farm, and she did all the cooking for the farm hands because it was a pretty large farm. And every day she made a pie, apple pie, cherry pie, blueberry pie, whatever. And then when she would make her meals for us on Sunday, they were like banquets. We would have meatloaf and pot roast, or meatloaf and pork chops, pot roast, and then, all the trimmings, the vegetables, the potatoes, and then, of course, the pies. And then she made cobblers. And it was fun because she used the berries that grew on the property. There were blackberries and raspberries that grew there. It was, honestly, a great time for our family. My dad knew that I was horse crazy. My brother, not so much, but he went along with it and got us 2 small horses. One actually was a pony. And I had the best time. I knew everything about horses. I drew horses. I read horse books. I watched horse shows. And it was really a wonderful time. In fact, that time at the farm, those years growing up, was the best time of my childhood that I can remember. We were all together and happy. Unfortunately, my grandfather had a stroke and died, and the people who were helping us with the horses during the week weren't able to take care of them anymore. So we kept the farm, but we did have to get rid of the horses. And I was already, a sophomore in high school. I wanted to get a part-time job. So the horses were sold. But I always knew I'd get another horse. So when I was about 15, we noticed that I was getting gray hair, and it was actually this part of my head. It wasn't a surprise to anyone because my mother had been gray, and by the time she was 30, she actually was coloring her hair because she had so much gray hair. And I don't know that that's a significant thing, but I know it's in our surveys. So high school was not an easy time for me. I was deemed fat because I had gained some weight, I guess with puberty. And I got teased a lot, bullied a lot. So I had my part-time job. I had a boyfriend from a different high school. And I just really wanted to just graduate and get out, go to college. So I did go to college locally. There was an extension of the university there. And I went for 3 semesters, but honestly, I didn't enjoy it very much. I didn't really meet a lot of new people because a lot of the kids from my class went there. And so I begged my mom to go to the state university in Madison, Wisconsin, and I did go. Now, my first attempt there was not that successful. I made it 2 semesters and decided that I was, again, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And at the second semester, I met my husband, and we decided to get married. So we were married in 1977. We've been married 47 years. I'm proud to say that. We have 6 grandchildren. They live in 3 different states. So we get to travel to Florida, to New York, to Chicago. So, that's one benefit, and the other drawback is that we don't have them right here. And then after we were married, I started having episodes of my parotid gland would swell, and that's this gland here. And by the 3rd time, I was referred to an ENT, and he diagnosed, because I had dry eyes, I couldn't wear contact lenses, I had a very dry mouth, had a lot of dental caries. He diagnosed Sjogren's syndrome, and I was referred to a rheumatologist. And honestly, I was tired, I had to get extra sleep, and I did have the dryness issue. I didn't have any other symptoms, and we decided to start our family, and everything was going very well. When my youngest child was 18 months, we moved to Iowa. Jim got a promotion, and it was very difficult for my mother because her health was not very good. We were 5.5 hours away. And in that 18 months, her health really declined. And shortly before she died, she asked me if I would watch out for my dad if something happened to her. And I, of course, said yes. My husband traveled 4 days a week, so I was in this new state with, 3 kids. And, my mom died, who was my best friend. I talked to her every single day of my life. Even when I was in college, I would call her. So it was a tough time. And then my dad spiraled out of control, and he started drinking again. And then he developed cancer. And the stress of all this, I found out the relationship between stress and autoimmunity. I started having symptoms. I was, utterly fatigued, swollen joints and sore joints, lymph nodes swollen. I could barely get out of bed and take care of the kids. And so I went to see a rheumatologist who put me on prednisone. And of course that made me feel better. My dad died shortly after that, and I decided that, this was the time, if I was going to do it, to go back to college. I had studied nursing at the University of Madison, and that's what I had intended to pursue at Iowa, but a lot of the credits weren't going to transfer. It didn't mesh. So I had a lot of foreign language in high school in my first years in college. So I got a degree in international business in 92. And then Jim found out that we might move to Mississippi, and we knew we didn't want to live in the South away from my brother and my sister and so forth in Wisconsin, and we moved back to Wisconsin. So that was 1993. I was feeling pretty good. I still had a lot of fatigue sometimes and the dryness, and someone recommended that I go see an alternative or integrative physician, and so I did. And he said, listen, we've got to rebuild your gut because you're sick all the time, you take way too many antibiotics, and you're so tired. So, he did some tests. Of course, the insurance didn't pay for it. He said they don't like me. And found out that I had more bad bacteria than good. So we rebuilt my gut. We changed my diet and added a lot of supplements. And for the first time, I really felt normal. I felt great. I actually started golfing and, just having fun. I was able to start working. That was in 2000 and had never held a job before because I was too tired. So it was really fun for me. And then in 2015, I had these red blotches on my shins. By this time I had bought a horse And I was sharing that with my daughter, which was fun, my youngest daughter. And it was getting worse. And so I showed it to the rheumatologist. He said, oh, well, you better go get that biopsied. And I did. And it showed amyloid tissue, which led to another bone marrow biopsy. And it showed localized amyloidosis, which is a bone marrow disorder, characterized typically by cancer. And they did find B-cell lymphoma. I was asymptomatic. So I did not go on chemotherapy, but the red patches continue to grow to this day all over my legs. I have them on my arms, small ones. I can't wear shorts, can't wear a swimsuit, but it's stable. I've had one visit since using the device, and it hadn't gone up, so that's good. It's still stable. So today I have more energy than I did I have at age 70 more energy than I did at 35. I'm really enjoying life. I know my life is on the upturn. I really am looking forward to the future. I found QHS by a little blurb on Telegram, and I found Cynthia, and I am eternally grateful that I found her. I found QHS. The admins and all of the members. Post QArc, I see my life as just an amazing experience, a healthy young woman who in the past thought, I wish I could do this. I don't have the money. I don't have the energy. I don't know how I do it. And now I feel like I'm capable of doing anything. I plan to contribute to and build a healing center here. I want to work as a key companion or in any other role that QHS has a spot for me. I want to be of service to my community and help people that are not as fortunate as me to have found this experience, and I want to bring them into our world, and I want our world to be healthy. So that's what I am looking for, and I want to thank QHS from the bottom of my heart. Bye.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.